Aloha everyone, it's Mitchell Ornelas coming at you for another Indigenous minded journal video. It's number 38. So last week I was going on to nights. So I was covering some purple nights for Kaiser, our Kaiser group. Went pretty well, it was just 3 nights. The first couple nights there wasn't a lot going on. I had some labor management, but only a few triage patients. It was just interesting working with them because it's they do a different system than we do, a little bit different sign out, and you're kind of working with their OB attending. It's kind of like there overnight. Then you have like family attendings as well, and they may come in or not, and it's kind of a little bit difficult situation trying to learn how they staff and like who to call basically. And a lot of it's like in their problem list, and like kind of says it details out like if it's a weekend it's different versus like during the week. A lot of times you might call the on-call person. I think one time I had to call a backup or the on-call person because normally it was like a family doc, but they were out of the country. But went pretty well generally. The last night was pretty busy. Had a lot of triage. I worked with a great attending that's like from Washington, did all his training, everything. I did a C-section, so it was my first C-section of residency. I was a first assist, and it went well. It was interesting because the uterus kept kind of like slow bleeding, so we had to place like a lot of stitches, tried a lot of different things like Surgigel, starch, but it was kind of a slow bleed, but you have to make sure, obviously you don't want anyone to bleed out before you sew them back up. But that was a great experience to get back in there because it reminded me of med school. I did a fair amount of C-sections as like first, second assistant in med school. It was nice to actually have one in residency, and just to get that going because I am interested in OB fellowship as an idea. And just working with them, working with the new group of attendings. See if I got any other procedures. I was doing in general, I think this week, maybe during I think I was covering the OB-GYN services after. I did some more Foley bulbs. And I actually had another C-section I got to be a part of. I got to stay late. That the MFM, the maternal fetal medicine group, was looking after one of our family medicine patients that was a little bit higher risk, and they allowed me to be in the C-section, so I was second assist, and I got to be in another one, kind of see their style. And some of these docs have so much experience, it goes pretty quick, and just trying to learn their techniques, and also working with the fellow. So the fellow was on this case, and that was good for me to experience. And luckily I had like postpartum rounding the next day, and I had like continuity. I got to see the patient again, and everything was doing well. It was fine. It was fairly quick, and then they actually ended like using staples with this patient. This is kind of interesting. There wasn't any major bleeding or anything like that, but kind of trying to think about like the indications. Like think of like fetal intolerance or non-reassuring NST. I think mom was like at arrest of labor, wasn't able to make much progress at all in like so many hours. I think that was with the other C-section. Especially when I was on the Kaiser night, it was really busy. I actually missed the C-section too. It was with twins. Probably would have just been like second assist with that one, but unfortunately I messed up. I would have been my first twin, like birth and C-section, but I was unable to go. I think I was stuck in triage and missed it. But overall, it's been great. I had fairly good amount of rest towards the end of this block. Some good postpartum rounding, and then I had my golden weekend. I had both days off this weekend, and I had a lot of time to spend with family. I'm very appreciative of that. My family up north, see a lot of my young nieces, nephews, hanging out with like everyone like I grew up with, and try to get close again and kind of reminisce on things. And then fortunately my family from Oregon has been able to come down, so my father, my little brother and his wife, being able to hang out with them like today. They're able to come in, and it's nice to have visitors coming into Seattle too. So as I realize how much I know more of Seattle and the area, and be able to like feel like I haven't been to a lot of places, but being able to like, oh no, I like this place, or this is where I walk by, and kind of realizing how much I do know this area now, and how much of a city person I've become too. But yeah, ate a lot of good food. 35C, one good bakery. Went by like the Wing Luke Museum. Did a lot of walking around different areas. And yeah, so tomorrow I have postpartum rounding, and then I don't have clinic, and then I just have one more shift covering the family medicine service on Tuesday, and that will finish the block. And then Wednesday I start a new block. I'll be back on medicine for a month. So kind of switching gears, transitioning over. Kind of the big thing that people are talking about right now is coronavirus and how it's spreading, and we have a few deaths here now in Washington, the first state with cases, and now the first state, I think, with some deaths, unfortunately. I'm trying to just understand more about it, understanding our guidelines, getting a lot of emails from like various hospitals on like following certain guidelines, screening people, but just trying to understand the data and what's happening, and trying to gather more information as things come out, because people are understandably shaken up and a little bit scared. So we're trying to do the right things to deal with it the best we can. But yeah, everything's been doing pretty well. I was able to get like a haircut too when I was visiting family up north, get cleaned up, actually like waxed the eyebrows. That was really nice. And then just personally, still things are improving for me, and just kind of working through things. And having family close is important because it helps a lot, tremendously, to work through things. February was a tough month for me. Now we're in March and getting closer to the end of the year. Sun's starting to come out more out here, and it's going to be spring soon, so it's nice. But yeah, I think that about covers it. I don't think there's anything else in particular I wanted to mention. Yeah, that's it. Keeping Indigenous minded, keep it mission minded. All right, aloha.